Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of 4Player Podcast. My name is Nick Henderson. I am a writer and co-founder over at 4Player Network. If this is your first time listening, please look for us on iTunes and subscribe. Doing so will keep you up to date with not only this podcast, but our sister shows Cocktail Time and Audible Impressions as well. If you haven't already, swing by the website at 4playernetwork.com and join our gaming community by signing up for a free account. And last but not least, please don't forget to tune in every night over at 4pp.tv to watch us broadcast games, record podcasts, and interact with the community. But enough about that, it's time to talk about video games. Let's get started.
Hey guys, welcome to the E3 Day 1 podcast. We've been on the show floor. Is this considered Day 1?
The way I'm labeling the shows is Day 2 because I count Day 1 as the conference day.
Day 2 of E3, Day 1 of show floor coverage.
Yep, we spent all day today wandering about the show floor at E3, playing games and
hurting ourselves.
I
feel good. I got coffee.
Joseph got coffee today. That I think is the thing that I'm going to take away from this E3 as most memorable is Joseph's quest to get coffee on Monday. It started out like 8 in the morning. He's like, I need my coffee. I haven't had my coffee yet. And then by 6 p.m., he was still saying, I haven't had my coffee yet. All damn day.
And it was the evening. We're heading home. Like, I haven't had my coffee.
Yeah.
Where's my coffee?
So I'm proud of you, Joseph. I'm happy for you.
You slept through the saga of me trying to make the coffee.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it was something.
I slept through your saga this morning. I apologize.
It was actually pretty terrifying.
Yeah. Did that involve using the microwave?
No, I was going to try to make the coffee, and then I couldn't find the coffee. Then I opened up the coffee maker, and it was the coffee. Whoever made the coffee made coffee a long time ago, and it was pretty moldy, so I had to clean it all out. And then I saw what I thought were coffee bags. I couldn't find the coffee bags, and I saw what I thought were coffee bags, and they were really high. And I couldn't reach them.
So he enlisted my help.
I enlisted his help, and they turned out to be.
You enlisted his help instead of Brad's?
Well, Brad was
indisposed,
and then they turned out to be seaweed bags of seaweed and not
like
coffee.
huge bags of seaweed.
Yeah.
Did you actually try and make coffee with seaweed?
No. And then we opened the fridge. And I said, well, maybe they put the coffee in their fridge or the freezer. People do that. And then we found coffee beans. So then I had to chop the coffee beans up and then make coffee. And then
chopped at your own coffee
No,
beans?
we have the thing. But then I put the water in the wrong hole in the coffee maker. I put it in the tea side instead of the coffee side. So I made coffee and only half a cup came out. I'm like, where's the rest of the coffee?
Why is he telling chat this, not me?
You're shaking your head.
This is a present for you.
That is... Justin just got Joseph some coffee.
You are a good man, sir.
So then I was like, where's the rest of my coffee? So I drank half my cup of coffee, and then I figured out how the coffee machine worked. And then
I come home from work and I see a disaster area. And I was like,
so by the way,
I stumped the beans myself.
I filled the tea side with water, and I don't know how to get it out.
Justin's just like, shakes his head like, I'll take care of this.
This is why you get a Keurig.
That's all I need to know.
We're just gonna let that evaporate.
All right, that sounds good. So that was my coffee saga this morning.
I played Bayonetta 2.
All right, we're jumping right into it. I think we arrived at the show floor this morning right after they opened, and I think we made a beeline, or we kind of went separate ways. Brad and I ended up in the same place somehow. We both played Bayonetta 2 this morning. So Brad, why don't you being the
Take it away,
Bayonetta aficionado, why don't you tell us what you think of Bayonetta 2? There will be an impressions video going up on the site.
I wish we could have a next-gen Bayonetta.
Yeah?
Because Bayonetta is so crazy and festive and colorful and insane.
And not to downplay how good it looks on the Wii U, but I after seeing some of the other next-gen games that we've seen today, it's kind of like, oh my god, I want to see everything now.
A lot of the current gen stuff is kind of looks like that a little bit.
It started like,
well, no, because you've seen the new stuff. It's hard to look.
It's fun. It's funny. I'll play Xbox 360 and I think it looks great. And then today, after watching all the conferences yesterday and playing and seeing some of the stuff around the show floor, today I was walking through the Microsoft booth just kind of scoping it out, and I walked past the TV and there was Splinter Cell Blacklist there on the 360, and I walked out and I was like, this kind of looks like shit. And then I was like, or is that just me? I can't tell if this looks like shit, or I just think it looks like shit because I've been looking at next-gen games.
Well, that's what it is. Remember when the 360 had the best graphics you've ever seen?
It's been a weird show because of this.
It's weird because people at home watching next-gen stuff might think, oh, that doesn't look that much better. But when you see it up close and personal, and then you go and watch something else, it becomes immediately apparent.
And honestly, the videos on YouTube and stuff don't really do the graphics justice.
They don't.
Because it's not only, I mean, they're compressed to all hell, but a lot of it's just how fast and the
frame rate.
frame rates are so good on these good-looking games. We're not used to seeing that good frame rate.
Yeah.
I don't.
And plus the texture
Not a
work,
lot
you
of
really
these
can't.
games are 60 frames a second.
Not all of them, but I mean, the ones that are really stand
It's
out.
just because they're so bright and
They're
crisp,
they're just
Yeah.
they're not dipping below 30.
and they're just a higher resolution.
Yeah.
I mean, most of our current gen games are not like a proper 1080p, and pretty much everything in next generation is, right?
Well, I don't think everything's going to be 1080p. I mean, Forza 5 is converted to be 1080p 60. So, but
and you just have
I
much
don't
better
think
textures
everything.
and stuff, and it's just
I mean, this past generation, only like 3 games were 1080p 30, and I know for certain one of them was like Virtua Tennis 4 or something like that.
well, Bayonetta 2, on the other hand, still looked pretty cool.
It didn't
And-
look any worse than Bayonetta 1.
Despite having to use a Wii pad, it still played really well. Like it felt like Bayonetta, which is a good thing. It's not a surprising thing, but it's a good thing.
I do like how she's not as creepy anymore.
I don't know what that
She
means.
kind of creeped me out.
Well,
No,
maybe
she-
you should go play the demo.
You should go play the demo because
She is
she's
pretty
She is
crazy.
pretty Bayonetta-y.
She's still a witch.
I'm just saying that the hair as clothing thing, I still don't like.
She
that.
still has hair as
Skeeve
clothing.
you out. a
Yeah,
little
she
bit.
still
Yeah,
has
it's
hair
like,
as
oh my
clothing.
god.
Her
No.
clothing is still made of hair.
Yeah.
That she is a hair witch. That's
It's a
what
hair
she
witch,
does.
yeah. You just can't handle all that woman.
I can't handle all that woman. I'm sorry.
The problem is
I'll
the
get
demo.
lost.
You need to learn to handle the women.
The
All
Bayonetta.
the women.
All of them.
All of them.
The Bayonetta 2 demo was showcasing like combat situations that were a little like busy, a little frantic, a little like
Yeah, it
a
was
little over the top, and there was
a little over the top.
there was plenty of that stuff in Bayonetta, but Bayonetta also had gave the player plenty of time, just sort of on the ground doing regular combat with interesting enemy patterns and whatnot. This was like the equivalent of falling on the fighting on the falling clock tower the entire time. I mean, you're fighting in a jet, you're fighting while flying through the air with butterfly wings or angel wings or whatever.
Hair wings.
Hair wings.
Wings.
I mean, it's all over the place. And honestly, if I talk about my least favorite parts of the first Bayonetta, it would be the parts where there's so much going on top of the combat.
No, yeah, this is a really I thought this is a really frantic demonstration or demo we got to play, but the guy that was kind of sitting there leading the demo, like at some point halfway through my demo, I was like, "Did you notice that entire time you were fighting on top of a jet?" And I was like, "Yeah, I noticed."
Well,
It's kind of hard to miss.
Let's put this
Been
way.
there, done that.
But also, like, historically, Nintendo has the worst booth people that I've ever seen anywhere. They're all horrible,
That's just mean.
and they all don't know what they're.
They don't
talking
know a lot about their games.
and they don't know a lot about their games.
Well, yeah,
That's because
they're not given any
it's
more
not like
information.
the developers or the publishers.
They're not
It's
given any more
hired
information than what they need.
No,
to
it's,
be
I'm
able
not saying it's the hired people, the hired help. It's always the worst.
people. So here's one thing about Bayonetta: she has whip boots, and that's pretty cool.
I didn't notice this though.
She still has the guns, right?
Because you didn't switch to her alternate weapon set where she has
Yeah.
a sword and whip.
This is
boots.
predominantly because the demo that I played, I chose to use the alternate control method just to see.
Okay, yes. I don't know why you did.
I did that because someone needed to do it, and I knew you wouldn't.
Well, what's the alternative control? I don't know.
Stylus only.
You play the
Really?
whole thing with stylus,
Yes.
yeah.
How do you do that?
This is the best part. The best part. You tap an enemy to lock on,
Uh huh.
and
Tap
then she
that.
just fights.
Tap
Oh.
that enemy.
Like you tap him once, she locks
So
on.
it's like easy mode of Bayonetta 1
well,
or
you,
casual
you,
mode.
yeah.
Let me
easy,
say this.
easy automatic.
Let me
you,
say this
you
again.
tap the enemies and pre-canned combos.
You
just come
tap
out.
it. You tap an enemy once, and then take your hand completely off the controller, and she
Uh-huh.
just does combos.
and,
Boom.
and you move around by clicking on the environment.
Someone thought that was a good idea.
Wow, that seems so strange.
It's
That may be, but there might be an audience that wants to experience this game.
no,
that aren't capable of
I did.
center
I did find it pretty cool that the entire time I was playing this way, I was looking at the screen instead of, or at the gamepad screen instead of looking at the TV, and then I forgot. Oh yeah, I could be looking at the TV. It was like, it looked really good, even though I was playing on a smaller screen, which was kind of a cool experience. But
I played several character action games today, and playing Bayonetta and those other games reminds me just why Bayonetta in terms of controls and responsiveness is just a cut above those others. And, you know, and I'm talking about, I played Castlevania, I played Killer is Dead, I played Yaiba, and nothing compares to the responsiveness you can get. Even amongst all this craziness, you can still dodge appropriately, activate Witch Time, and just go to town.
Witch Time is still amazingly entertaining.
satisfying.
Yeah.
So satisfying.
I love that about Bayonetta. I also love her nice new haircut.
I
Oh my god.
I like her nice. I like her nice new outfit. I like Jean's nice new outfit and hair.
I like short hair, so this is in my direction.
It was. Whew, I did not expect the haircut, and it works
In
very well.
the post Metal Gear Rising era of Platinum Games, do you have to buy the ability to block?
No, what?
No.
Because you have to do that in Metal Gear Rising, and that pissed me off.
You have to buy the ability
What
to
are you
block.
talking about?
Yeah, you
What
did.
do you do?
Like
Yeah,
a
you did.
You
microtransaction?
just flick the stick towards the enemy.
You
What are
parry
talking about?
automatically in Metal Gear
Yeah.
Rising.
Wait, not automatically, but
But no, you
get it from the
I'm talking
beginning.
specifically blocking.
no, you get from there from the beginning.
I think you're thinking of a different move set.
I think you're thinking of a different game.
I'm thinking of Metal Gear Rising that
No,
pissed me off. and
there
which
is
I'll
there
never
is
play
actually
again.
a basic move in Metal Gear Rising. It's not blocked though. I don't recall what it is. It's the dodge.
I think you're thinking.
I
of one of
guess
those
maybe it
old
was
Lord
the
of
dodge.
I think
Rings
it's the
brawlers
dodge.
on
Well, then either way,
PlayStation 2.
why can't I?
I think it's the dodge because I never used it and I just parried everybody.
The dodge you have to buy,
Yeah, that's what you're thinking of.
and the
See-
dodge is better than you think.
I'm thinking.
I never used it.
Yeah.
When
I
you
just
say
think-
buy, you mean like just
No, with in-game
okay.
experience and stuff.
Yeah.
Bayonetta's good.
I'm glad it's good.
I dream of the day that Nintendo lets Platinum Games find a publisher for another console.
Yeah.
That would be great. Preferably a next generation console.
Oh, it's almost a certainty that they'll port it to the other systems with
yeah, but a port doesn't guarantee it's going to look. That much better.
I will say
to Xbox One and PS4.
Yeah, if a port by its very nature is just porting
They might
that
not
over.
up- they might not
They may
upscale
not
the
update the graphics. They may not update anything.
And Bayonetta is already running really fast frame rate, so that it's not like
the game is smooth as butter, so they don't
at
really
least
have a
there's-
lot of incentive
At least
to do
if
that.
you upgrade to the next gen systems, you don't have to worry about a loss of fidelity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You just gain additional content.
probably. Yeah,
if they
yeah,
do
you
it
wouldn't
that
lose
way.
anything.
Yeah.
Who knows if that'll happen? The point is, I don't. If
I
this
think
were designed from the ground up for Xbox One or PS4, it'd be pretty.
I
Amazing.
think what you're saying is how beautiful it would be if
Yeah.
it was.
I mean, the
made
game
for an
already
next-gen
looks
system.
great, but I can't imagine how much more intense and amazing it would be
Yeah,
running on next gen hardware.
I understand.
yeah, and because it's not as stylized, something like the Wonderful 101, which is also from Platinum Games, actually looks a lot better. In fact, I think what you're going to see going forward is the best looking current generation stuff is actually going to be the Wii U stuff that's really stylized. Because I also play, Mario 3D World, and that looks great. It looks just as good as any fucking game we played today. Because it's so colorful and bright and crisp, even though it's
Nintendo played it very safe this year.
Yeah, they did.
But their
they
booth,
really did.
But their booth is great. Like you walk around their booth, they have a lot of good stuff to get your hands on.
There's no X there, right?
Yeah, no X,
Yeah.
no X.
Oh, see, that's
unfortunate.
upsetting. 'Cause that was probably the game I was most excited about this morning when we saw.
It's
their
pretty.
press
Their
conference.
booth. I could probably list off all the games they have at their booth right
I
now.
passed
They're
it
all
up. It's
known-
pretty small.
They're all known quantities.
This is close and related, but I did play the Wonderful 101 multiplayer, and I will say it's kind of a clusterfuck because nobody knows how to play. It's 4 players on the screen, but then because it's the Wonderful 101, everyone has a dozen little guys following them and turning into weapons and stuff, and man, it was just hard to follow what was going on. But I think the single player in that game is going to be really great. And once you get a handle on the controls and stuff, I bet multiplayer will be a lot of fun too.
Yeah. All right. So let's see what else. Anything else in the Nintendo booth we want to go ahead and just get out since we're kind of starting with Nintendo?
I never actually-
I got more Nintendo.
I didn't really go into it actually.
What?
Nintendo.
Oh, you didn't. Go.
I passed through it, but
Yeah, I've hit that
I mean,
pretty
it's
wrong.
the big titles that you're gonna find in the Nintendo booth are gonna be the new Mario game,
The new Donkey Kong.
new
game.
Donkey Kong, Mario Kart.
It's the best too.
The
wanna try
Wind
it.
Waker
Wind
HD,
Waker HT.
which
Wind
I'm
Waker HD.
gonna be playing that tomorrow. That's on my
Bayonetta
list.
2.
They had the new Luigi. What?
Luigi U. Wii
New
U.
Luigi.
Super Mario Brothers.
New
With
Luigi
new
Brothers U.
Yeah.
They have Mario and Luigi Dream Team
Yeah.
over on the 3DS. So I didn't actually get to play A Link to the Past 2, and it's because it has such a long line because they're doing some stupid little swag Wheel of Fortune.
It's like
thing.
a merry-go-round of swag.
A merry-go-round of swag that's random for everyone who's playing in that little circle. So there's a long line. They don't have enough 3DSs, and everybody wants the swag. So I can't actually get on to play Link to the Past 2. It's very frustrating, but I will try to get it. Try to get to it before the end of the show for sure.
Yeah.
But I did play three full levels of Mario 3D World on the Wii U, and I played it with 3 other people. And I will say like this is straight up. This is Mario 3D Land, which is the last game that this the Galaxy team did, which is this team, was actually 3D Land. They're the team behind 3D Land on the 3DS. This is straight up 3D Land with 4-player co-op. So it
Do you
totally
mean
has the
conceptually,
vibe.
or are you saying the levels?
No, it's not literally the same, but I mean that a Galaxy game is a game about bouncing around on like spherical worlds and stuff. It is not that at all. It is what 3D Land is. 3D Land was sort of kind of it took the flatter stuff from Galaxy and kind of mixed it with just it's just kind of like that. So the levels are very festive and exciting, but it's still pretty flat and vertical but I mean you're not running around on spheres is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
If people who played 3D Land will know what I'm talking about. It's basically 3D Land inspired levels with 4-player co-op, and it kind of has the vibe a little bit of like that fun cooperative stuff that that was in the new Super Mario Brothers games.
I honestly, following the Nintendo Direct press conference this morning, was kind of bummed by the announcement of this game. Not because I think it's going to be a bad game, because I'm sure it's going to be great. Mm-hmm. But I was going into this, when they said they were going to announce the next Mario game, I was picturing something more akin to Mario Sunshine or Mario Galaxy or even Super Mario 64. And what we got was more of I always looked at 3D Land as like just a take on the new Super Mario Brothers in a 3D space.
So it's not new Super Mario Bros. Though.
But it's like this focus on co-op. Like this focus on co-op, the flatter terrain, the lack of a central.
The thing
theme.
is, you didn't play 3D Land. If you did, you would never say New Super Mario Bros. You would say 3D Land because that's exactly what they're going for here.
So is it like
I'm having trouble articulating what I'm talking about.
So from an
the point
outsider,
is,
though,
it's 3D Land with co-op.
I was expecting something with a central theme, like Sunshine or Galaxy.
That's exactly what I said this morning. I agree with you. And honestly, after playing 3 levels or 2 levels in a boss fight, I'm not really feeling it either.
So does it feel like from an outsider? It seems to me like instead of there being like you said, a central theme, it's like they're like challenge levels. Get through this level and get all the coins. Get through this level and get all the coins.
No,
well, I mean,
it's levels. They're Mario levels.
But it doesn't have a hub world, does it?
No, I mean neither did Galaxy 2 or.
Yeah, it did.
No, it didn't.
Okay, maybe I'm thinking of something
No,
else.
it had a.
But
level
Sunshine
map.
had like a hub world, and Super Mario 64 had a hub world, and
No,
you know,
it's
though,
a lot of people were hoping this would be like Mario 128 and it'd be open world. It's not that.
Yeah, it's definitely not that.
They're trying to capitalize on what's great about the 3D games with what made New Super Mario Bros. On Wii work, and that's the cooperative play.
Yes, and okay, there you go. You articulated that. Well, that's what I was trying to say, and that's not what I was expecting or hoping for.
Except I said that like 5 times.
Okay, whatever. The point is, disappointed.
But
how's
seemed,
the game? What
it's
new
fine.
stuff did you play around with?
It seems a little unambitious. I played around with Mario.
Along
he can
with
climb walls.
Along with everything else they announced at their conference this morning.
Pretty much, yeah.
They
Though
played
I
it
have
very.
to
They
say-
played it very safe with their core stuff,
Yes.
like Mario Kart, like Mario, like
Which-
Wii Party.
Mario Kart was the only game I stopped in there for a few seconds just to watch, and that actually looks pretty fun.
Of
I
course
haven't.
it is because Mario Kart is fun, but that doesn't mean it's not like ultra safe.
No, it's
Yeah,
same old.
I know.
There's a reason they stick to that because it works and it sells.
I'm
and-
just saying
and people
that's
still have
the
fun with
first
it.
Mario game in the past few years that has genuinely interested me.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time.
I mean, the last time they took a chance was Double Dash, and before that it was like Mario, the first one. So I don't know. I can't get excited about Mario Kart. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it as far as me and the Nintendo with goes. I will go back to play Link to the Past too.
Yeah, I think that's where Brad and I are both going tomorrow morning. So I do want to play that as well.
Yeah.
So that's we'll revisit Nintendo because I'm sure we'll be playing more of those games in the next couple days. Straight out of Nintendo, I headed over to the other hall and toured because they have it split up basically into a first-party hall and a third-party hall practically this year. So the other hall had like Warner Brothers and Square Enix and all that stuff. So I went over to Warner Brothers and happened upon the Mad Max booth. Sat through the theater presentation for Mad Max.
Yep.
It's hands off. It was a hands-off demo. It was a behind closed doors theater presentation. But with that said, it's an Avalanche game from the creators of Just Cause 2. So I went into this not knowing really what to expect, not knowing anything about the game at all, because what they had showed at the Sony conference the night before was it was a cinematic trailer, didn't really explain anything else about it.
There had been a few leaks previously, months ago, but nothing substantial.
Just some random
So
screenshot.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it was like I walked in the theater, they started playing. I was like, okay, it's third person. I didn't know that. So like very very outside of the very basic facts, like I didn't know much at all. So I walk in, they start playing it. What we're looking at here is an open world game set in the Mad Max universe, with the core gameplay being driving combat. Of course, there are scenarios in which you can get out of your car and use melee combat and weapons combat and stuff like that. But definitely their focus here is car combat.
I would say that this is basically take Rage.
Yes.
Make
Thank you.
it a huge open world, not like corridor canyons and shit.
Walking out of the theater, that was the first thing I thought, and the first thing I made sure to remember is this game strikes me as what Rage, conceptually could have been had it been extrapolated out into an open world.
And then take the basic ideas of the melee combat from the Arkham games and put that in there. And that's what you get.
Yeah, the combat did seem a little Arkham-y.
Well, the enemies and the character models have that kind of Arkham-y, chunky kind of look to
When they're
them.
coming
that,
into attack, that gives you the exclamation point mark to tell you can counter.
Yeah, and then of course he counters them, takes them out in some pretty brutal
That's
takedowns
shotgun, man.
with that powerful shotgun he's got there, which is cool. But combat-wise, the focus here is obviously going to be driving combat, and they show him driving around the open world so you can get kind of an idea of what it looks like. And of course, it's Mad Max, so it's very flat,
and brown
and post-apocalyptic-y, which is a very, very big departure from, say, Just Cause.
How colorful that game is.
And we should make the distinction that when we say car combat, we're not talking about like a twisted metal car combat. This is like melee car combat where you're actually using your car to ram into other cars.
Yeah, Avalanche is a very physics, like they fuck around with physics a lot in their game. So obviously they're doing, like, they have a full suspension system set into each car, so you can see the car, like, and how the weight effects of each piece of the car fits in, because there are customization options here. So you can customize your car, customize your character, and everything that you change affects the weight of the car and how that affects your stabilization and your.
And when they demonstrated that off-roading, he just went over some like really rough terrain.
It looked really satisfying the way
it looked
like,
very
tore through the dirt
satisfying,
and stuff.
and it didn't seem like the car clipped through any terrain at all. I mean, that's
It interacted with every bit of small rock and
every
fizzle and everything.
bit.
Yeah.
But do you know what the secret, surprisingly awesome thing about Just Cause 2 is? Like driving vehicles in that game.
Mhm.
Like it's just so fun and physicsy.
Yeah,
that like unpredictable stuff would happen.
Yeah.
and that looks to kind of continue.
They called it emergent vehicle combat, actually, because of the way that the player interacts with the physics and the AI interacts with that stuff. That every combat scenario is very different.
Yeah. So they didn't give us a very big taste of how crazy it's going to get.
Mhm.
It seemed that a lot of the stuff that they'd seen today is stuff we've seen in other games before, but they teased things like how they're going to be playing with physics. Like they had a harpoon gun that, because you have this character that rides in the back of your car. This I forgot what they call him. I'm not a big Mad Max fan.
His name
Chum Bucket, I think.
Chumbucket.
Mechanic.
He's a mechanic, but he's also kind of like he's got some mental issues.
And-
Yeah, so he's riding in the back of your car.
And
He's like an idiot savant. He's an idiot savant. Put it that way.
mental issues, but call me crazy. But, haha. I swear to God, it sounded like Michael Rooker was the voice.
I thought I heard that. I thought I heard his name too. I mean, I thought I heard that voice too.
Who's Michael Rooker again?
He played Merle on The Walking Dead.
Oh, okay. I wasn't.
He has a distinct voice.
Oh yeah, he's pretty.
You might know
recognizable.
him from Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Oh yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. I love that movie.
I know.
It's a great movie.
That's why I brought up.
He thought I would
'cause
love it.
Oh, you've never seen Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer?
Well, it involves
Oh,
a
you
serial
see that
killer,
movie.
so
I brought it
automatically
up
assume.
because I knew
Do y'all think I'm a
Joseph
serial
would not
killer or
have
something?
only seen it.
he just loves serial killers.
He would have loved
Oh,
it.
it's a great movie. Yeah, it's
He's the dude from Cliffhanger whose wife fell at the beginning, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, damn you, Sly. You should have held on to her. But, I mean, it's not his fucking fault. He did his best. What a dick.
Anyways, so harpoon gun.
Also drove the Exxon car in Days of Thunder.
Thank you.
You might remember that from the memorable wheelchair racing scene. in
I
the
know
hospital.
I know who he is
With
now.
Tom-
Okay,
with
shit. Okay.
with Tom Cruise.
Oh, maybe you didn't know.
I know.
He's trying to be helpful, and you are
Yes, he's
putting him
failing.
down.
Anyways, harpoon gun is fire. Like, so they're in the middle of this like chase through the desert, which is actually looks what he said. He's being like swarmed by like 3 or 4 cars, and they're dudes jumping off their cars onto the hood of his car, and they're shooting guns, trying to take out his tires and stuff. And you can command Chum Bucket on the back of your car to pull out a harpoon gun, fires it into one of the tires of the car right next to you, and then pulls on it, yanks the whole tire off the car next to it, and then it just goes into like a just rolls and then
yeah.
explodes.
It
like,
reminds me of
fiery fucking.
reminds me of the
explosion.
grapple grab from like Just Cause.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
But you know what? After seeing all this stuff, ultimately, I was a little let down because it's not as crazy as Just
But I don't
Cause
see how you
2.
could have expected it to be, knowing what Mad Max
There's-
is.
Yeah,
I'm just whatever. Nobody has fucking done anything with Mad Max in decades. Get crazy.
But
I think there's
it's not
some-
like Mel Gibson.
I'm gonna
reprise his
give them the
role.
benefit of the doubt because they pulled out the map, showed you how big the map actually is, and said there's 4 distinct regions of the map, and they had 3 of them that were locked, and they said we can't show you what's in those regions
I'm
yet.
not,
So
I'm not saying this game looked bad because it didn't.
no, I know. Yeah.
But it's not Just Cause 3. And I kind of want Just Cause 3.
Yeah.
But these are the guys that make Just Cause 3. And they're not making Just Cause 3. They're making Mad Max.
okay,
I
but,
think there's
but
still-
you can't look at Mad Max and say you're disappointed because it's not Just Cause 3.
I just did.
No, but like if they made Just Cause 3 and it didn't live up to your expectations of what Just Cause 3 should be, that would make sense. But this is
I'd
not
be upset
trying
with
to be
that,
Just
too.
Cause 3. It's trying to be Mad Max.
I know. I'm just saying, I wish they were working on Just Cause 3.
But-
I was kind of hoping this game would just be a reskinned Just Cause 3.
no, it would. There's no way.
but I'm
not the way this
I'm
universe
wondering how you
works.
can expect that, knowing what Mad Max is. It's not vertical. It's not.
It's
not a-
deserts and desperation. That's
how
what
would
it
they
is.
even have a flying vehicle in that universe?
there is
There is.
Yeah.
There was like one, and it went down fast.
fast, yeah.
But-
But I think there's also, I mean, there's a whole there are giant holes in what they showed us so far. I mean, we saw 2 little sections. But the map is huge. It's littered with all these extras you can possibly do, which they mentioned. When he looked out at the area so in the demo that we saw, the character Mad Max is trying to get through this giant gate called the Jaw. And at one point when he takes out this sniper, he's at this high point, you look at the structure of the Jaw, and it's huge. It's this huge structure. And there's actually a lot of reasonable chances for more verticality in this world with these
Yeah.
big structures.
And also a lot of opportunity to approach it in very different situations.
Right, but
very
I
different
think
strategies.
there's a lot here we don't know, and this game is very early. And I think that maybe there is a chance that there might be a larger city area where you can do things like go.
Well,
From
no.
one
I mean,
to
in the
one,
top, the northeast region of the map, it did very much look like a big fortress or city.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so there might be more chances for that. you know.
I don't see them not including like Thunderdome, for example.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't talk about story. They didn't talk. I mean, they showed initial conceptual ideas.
Yeah.
And how mechanics will work. And that's kind of
one
it.
thing that struck me, especially considering this is a licensed game, it did not strike me as a game that you would normally associate with licensed games. This game looked on its way to being very polished.
This was from months ago.
I think you can expect something like that eventually.
This was from months ago. This is why I was expecting
Okay.
it to be like Just Cause 3.
And
like Just
that's
Cause.
not out of the question.
No,
see
I think
that.
that can still happen.
There's a screen. There's a really blurry screenshot or concept art.
That
or
was
something
leaked months ago.
Months ago, it looks like it's a character jumping out of a plane or jumping towards a.
And that is his outfit.
I wouldn't put it past them to.
do something.
The thing
I'm
is,
just saying,
I
show
don't-
me this stuff. Because the first time
Well,
they showed
they
off
will.
Just Cause 2, holy shit.
They will. They'll show
It's
you.
probably just
that.
not
The
ready
thing
yet.
is with this universe, it everybody has this set image for it.
But no,
They don't want to show that just yet. They want to.
Okay, no, fair enough.
They'll demonstrate that closer to the release of the product. I mean,
so
months out.
Realistically, one thing I'd like to see is some multiplayer.
Well, here's one thing I was
Like Road
That's gotta be in
Warrior,
there.
Here's
car
one thing
combat multiplayer.
I was just going to say about that, and I think there is going to be, because if you remember, I wrote this down. The last montage they showed of the game, really quickly, they showed 3 or 4 cars lined up with different paint jobs on them, and I think that's multiplayer vehicle customization.
Yeah.
That
And I
sounds
think-
reasonable. Yeah.
And they were kind of like the same vehicle, and then showing different types of stuff. I think there's gonna be multiplayer with vehicle customization. I think that's the plan. So
I would not put it past them to do that. And I think this game has a lot of potential, and it's on its way to probably being a very good game. What they have now looks very nice. So, and considering going into that presentation, I was kind of expecting it to be shit because it is a licensed game. Of course, it's not tied to a movie.
Wait, no, that doesn't.
The-
I mean,
these-
this is a dead license from a long time ago. This is not your typical licensed product.
It's not exactly. Dead,
I don't know. I can't-
there is word they are doing a reboot of the series.
I know.
So
I
clearly,
I wasn't
this has been in
expecting-
development for a while. I mean, we've heard rumors that they were working on this game for almost 2 years.
And plus, I mean, this is also from the publisher is Warner Brothers, and they've done fairly well recently with their licensed products. Injustice, look at the Arkham games. I think they're treating it with quite a bit of respect.
Warlog, before he went to Crystal Dynamics, was over at Avalanche working on this game.
I don't think. Trust
that
me,
was a long time ago.
I just went in I didn't have a lot of expectations going into it, and I came away pretty impressed. Warner Brothers as a publisher, I think I put a lot of faith in them, especially considering another game we're going to talk about in a minute.
Well,
from Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers also been axing a lot of companies, so they probably have some extra pocket change to throw around at this point.
Yeah,
What
might.
have they been actually?
They max like big sections of Monolith, and the company that did Lord of the North,
War in the
Snowblind?
North?
Snowblind went away. They axed them, and
Did Snowblind not survive that?
they didn't know. Snowblind's gone now. They axed them.
That is a bummer.
So
Um,
Monolith is a skeleton of what it once was.
Well, that's what happens when you make Fear 2 and you don't make it nearly as good as the first game.
Or you make a Batman shooter.
I liked Fear 2.
Fear 2.
I liked
is
Fear
pretty-
2.
Fear 3 was terrible.
I think
I played all the way through Fear 3.
the demo for Fear
I could not get through Fear 3. It bored the fuck out of
It's
me.
abysmal.
Yeah.
the demo for Fear 2 was better than Fear 2.
I don't remember. I can't make
It's the
that.
same thing.
I
It's
can't
just the school
remember.
stuff.
Hey, we're not here to talk about Fear.
Yeah,
That's
why not?
true. All right.
Joseph, what's the game that you played today that you would like to talk about?
What's a game that I played that I'd like to talk about? I played. You really talk about it. I played World of Tanks today on the Xbox 360.
God.
Were there tanks in it?
There was tanks. I asked the guy, like, "Do I have to be a tank?" It was okay. It's it's a World of Tanks. It's a slow paced first person shooter in tanks.
Did when you
It's
were
going to be
leaving-
free to play, so try it when it comes out.
when you were leaving and the guy was saying goodbye to you from that wonderful demonstration, did you say thanks for the memories?
I should have. I didn't even think about it. Next to World of Tanks was Rise. So I said, let me stand in line for Rise. The line looked very short. So I'm standing in line, and I watched 2 or 3 people play through Rise, and then I realized the line was actually very, very long and windy, and I didn't notice the windy part of the line. And I watched enough people play Rise to learn that I didn't want to play Rise myself. Watching other people play Rise, it's amazing because we saw the demonstration, but you really get a feel for a game when somebody gets on it for the first time and starts playing with it with the way a real gamer plays with it, hasn't been practicing for months. That is the best way I can describe Rise. It is a fucking lazy game. It's so fucking lazy because it looks beautiful. It's a lazy game that wants to fall back. That wants to fall back on set pieces and graphics for the most part. Because you go up, he goes up in this kind of linear way. It doesn't look linear because there's big areas, but it's telling you where to go, kind of. And like 3 soldiers come up, and he starts hacking at them, and immediately the prompts come up from the QuickTime events. But this player decides not to take them. He wants to do some real.
He wants to see what
He wants to do
happens.
some real combat. And it's the most boring combat. I mean, he's just hacking, block, hack, the guy goes down. And there's no real locational damage. When he's okay, look, this is fucking next gen now, okay? When he's slashing a guy, there's no locational slash graphic or blood where he's getting hit.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. And that's that's inexcusable at this point, considering what they're trying to do. And that's why they want you to immediately go for the QuickTime event, because the combat sucks. The combat only looks good and worthwhile when you go to through the QuickTime event.
Because it's a repurposed Connect
Yeah,
game.
no, it's lazy. That's the only word I could really use to describe this game is lazy. And of course, it gets to the section where you bunch up with your soldiers, you have to put up your shield when the game tells you to.
Yeah.
And of course, that was obviously a Connect move where you had to put up your arm, and then the spears and whatnot. It's just fucking boring.
Yes,
It's boring.
Word
Like with
is not used enough.
like with everything
when
that's
describing games.
it's so funny, like, with everything that's happening in this world around him, like, in the game, these ships are crashing into shore, and these people are in the background fighting like crazy, and you just wish you could go play that game. That's happening right out of your reach, but you can't. You just have to slash like an asshole with these 3 guys in front of you until they fall down. I want to play the Rise game that's happening around me. I don't want to play the Rise game that I'm being forced to play.
God, Crytek must be so bummed.
Hey Nick,
They had they were forced into this Connect bullshit, and now they're just trying to scratch themselves out of this wet box, and it's collapsing around them.
Scratch themselves out of this wet box.
Yeah.
hey Nick,
You ever try to scratch yourself out of this wet box you've been put into?
what are you talking
You know what that's like,
All the time, Joseph.
Speaking of boring games,
That was inappropriate.
Castlevania Lords of Shadows was not a bad game.
Mhm.
Had lots of issues, but ultimately I think its major problem was that it was kind of boring.
What are you talking about? You said Lords of Shadow 1 or 2?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now I played the Lords of Shadows 2 demo, and
I like how you daintily turn the page of your little black book.
He's like, let me see what I wrote on the next page. Oh, look, it says boring.
Lords of Shadows 2, that demo was long and it was boring.
Really?
It was boring and predictable. You shut off that demo with a very tutorial driven like area where they keep sending out waves of dudes as you learn how to play the game. And then you open up into an area and it's a mini boss fight / Titan climb around on a Titan thing.
Which was already in the first game.
And the Titan
every one of those
the
games.
Titan stuff is terrible in the first game, and it sounds like it's going to be just as boring and uninspired here. I think the core mechanics of the combat are fine. I think those are solid, but I don't think that's going to save the game. I mean, it's it's the God of War issue.
Yeah.
You can make it look pretty, but if the combat isn't all that, you know what? That is a slight. God of War combat is better than Lords of Shadows combat for sure. I apologize for that. So one of the things they were touting was, if you watch that game, that little interview thing last night, was that they're bringing back the platforming in Lords of Shadows, and you're going to be able to climb around on shit, because old school Castlevania games had a lot of platforming in it, which is true, but this is, the kind of platforming I hate. Climb around on bullshit, there's one way to go, except now there's even a button you hold down that highlights the next few things you can grab onto.
No.
It's, like that is so unengaging. It's so boring. It is so fucking boring. Nobody likes doing that. You can't really.
It could be worse though. It could be like Remember Me, where it forces you to see every single thing
But
without
I mean,
allowing you.
that's
to
what I'm
see.
talking about. Is climbing around and Remember Me is fucking boring because there's no stakes there. It's not exciting. You're not actually afraid because you're so high up. It's like this know-nothing traversal. It might as well just be a fucking loading screen. Like it's not engaging at all. Same problem with like Enslaved had those problems with its platforming. Fuse had platforming sequences like that.
One of the games I played today, its previous title, had a real problem with that. Everything was highlighted just like fucking Uncharted. You knew exactly where to go. You knew exactly what to do.
What game?
Splinter Cell Blacklist.
That
Played
has
for a
that
few
kind of
minutes.
climbing around and stuff.
But they fixed that. It's actually this time you kind of have to
Where did you
look and
okay?
learn.
Where's the preferred place to play Splinter Cell Blacklist?
Hold
Right,
on,
the
let me
show
wrap
floor?
this up because there's one last thing I got to say about that Castlevania,
go ahead,
and then
go ahead,
you can
go
talk
ahead.
about Splinter Cell later.
Okay.
In this game, there is a cutscene where he opens up some doors out of his little tutorial combat area. He looks off in the distance and he says to himself, "What is a man?" Of course, this is Lords of Shadows 2 and you're playing Dracula. What is a man? A miserable pile of secrets, it's... And I just got so angry. I just got so angry that this boring God of War clone really
It's trying to
thinks...
channel one of your favorite games of all time.
really thinks that it could just throw in a line, an iconic line from one of the greatest games ever made, because it has Castlevania on the box, so it's earned that right. And maybe if they say that, the Symphony of the Night fans will be happy. No, because the real Symphony of the Night fans aren't playing your stupid fucking boring game. They're desperately trying to find Koji Igarashi. By the way, can we find a Konami person with a video camera and a mic in my hand so I can ask them where the fuck Koji Igarashi is? Can we arrange that somehow in the next couple of days? Because I would like to ask this question.
You can try it.
Good luck finding someone who either knows the answer or is willing to give you the answer.
Yeah, Konami, right?
Anyways,
But I encourage you to play it because I might be crazy. Y'all know how I feel about Castlevania, but I was bored.
I played Lords of Shadow 1. It wasn't my favorite game in the world. I don't know if I found it exactly boring. It's been a long time since I played it, by the way. It was when it came out. Enslaved came out at the same day, I believe. But I'll play this one just to kind of get a taste for it.
So they did say this game was going to be open world, but none of that was evident in the demo. And I could potentially get excited about an interesting structure, world structure. But
yeah.
I didn't get it here. I'm not even saying this is going to be a bad game. I'm saying the demo that they have available is boring.
So
it's you have your whip and you can switch between that and a sword, which regains health. It's like your light sword, or you can hit the right bumper to switch these flaming gauntlets that are stronger and can break through enemies' shields. Like that's the most boring, cliched character action game shit out there.
Yeah.
Like, do something inspired and different. Honestly, the coolest parts of Lords of Shadows 1 are towards the end. Like, I think it was the final boss fight, and all of a sudden this polarity switching between light and dark, like it zoomed out and it became like this Ikaruga style thing where the boss was shooting like these attacks, and the only way you could survive them is to patterns like rapidly switch between your different polarities. That was kind of cool and exciting. It was inspired. It made it feel all of a sudden this character action game felt like a shoot 'em up, and that was cool. But
yeah. No,
demo's boring. Game could be good. Sorry for taking so long.
So at any point though in the demo, it never opened up to kind of show an open world sort of aspect?
that-
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
That's
Like
the
you go
stuff-
on this
that's
Titan, you're
unfortunate.
climbing around on this Titan. It's a cutscene that there's a mini boss that's shooting arrows at the ground, and you see where he's going to shoot them, so you get dodge out of the way, so you don't get hit, right? And then it's showing, there's these 4 little bolts, on the ground. Like you need to stand next to the bolt so he can shoot the arrow. You got to dodge out of the way, and once he shoots all 4 bolts, you can open up the next area. Walk to there. There's 4 more bolts. Do that stupid shit again. And between each bolt that he shoots away, a couple of enemies come out, and you got to slash at them. It's so uninspired. And the stuff going on in the background is like exciting, right? And they love their cutscenes and shit. But that
That's
isn't.
what Rise is like. Rise, everything in the background looks so much better than what I'm playing. I'm like, please, can I get on that ship? That looks awesome. I want to play that. That's amazing.
That's
It's amazing.
unfortunate.
It's amazing.
I feel
It's
like the weird and stupid thing is that Konami made a point to, or Mercury Steam made a point to point out the differences in the world structure in the demonstration that they had at the Konami conference
was their big thing.
just days ago.
that was their big thing.
Well,
this
they
is an
said it.
open
They
world.
didn't demonstrate it.
Yeah, but they made a point to point that out. And that's the kind of stuff that a demo... I mean, if you have a sequel to a game that already exists, your demo for the sequel should highlight the differences between the original and the sequel, not just be a rehashing of the original.
Especially if there's maybe a convention of some sort happening directly later, a few days later of your big announcement.
You think they would, at this point, do you think they would even notice, people would even notice that they put the original Castlevania Lords of Shadow on the TVs and told you it was the sequel?
No, they wouldn't.
'Cause-
No.
Or
No.
there's nothing to separate them except
Yeah.
the fact that you might recognize the set piece.
It looks different. You are Dracula. You can trigger a stun state and you run over them and hit the grab button, which is B, and and he'll drink some blood and restore some of his health.
Well,
And at the end of the Titan battle, this is the weirdest part. Sorry for the spoilers. He gets up to the top of this Titan and he vomits blood all over his face, and then everything falls apart of the Titan and it collapses.
wait, the Dracula vomits blood?
Vomits blood all over his face, and then the Titan dies.
It's like a rainbow shower.
I don't even understand why it happened, but it did.
A what shower?
Don't go there.
What? A rainbow shower.
I'm sorry. I don't want to know.
Don't.
I don't.
Don't go there.
Go to the
So
No, I'm not going to.
extremetubes.com.
No.
do you know how we sometimes talk about games that seem like technically competent, but they seem to lack soul? It's like there's something missing.
They're going through the motions.
They're going through the motions, but it's usually the lacking of soul in its world and in its lore. And I feel like Mercury Steam is really close to capturing like the atmosphere, the characters, maybe even the story, but there is no soul to its gameplay.
Yeah.
And I feel like your gameplay needs to have a little soul.
I agree.
Like Metro Last Light, that's gameplay with soul.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Is it amazing?
Because you got to pump your gun and charge up your light and
there are
it
some
has its
genuinely-
own, it has its own quirks. There's a button to wipe your mask. That's cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing like that in Lords of Shadows.
Yeah.
But you know what there is? You know a game that does seem to have soul?
Beyond Two Soul?
No.
Oh.
Oh,
That is too much
There's
soul.
too much soul.
That would have been a good one. Good.
That'd be a good segue.
I haven't been to the Beyond booth yet. I'll go see that tomorrow.
I think
and then we'll try this
the
again
demonstration
tomorrow.
you play is the
I think I
Splinter
know
Cell
where
one.
this transition's going.
Where do you think it's going?
I'm thinking it's going in the direction of murdered soul suspect.
Okay. Well, why don't you do that then? Because that's.
Where were you going to go?
I was
with that?
going to Dying Light, but that's
Oh.
whatever. Go ahead. Go ahead with Murdered Soul Suspect. I wasn't trying to make a pun. I was just saying there is a game that has
okay.
soul, and it is Dying Light.
We are pun people. It's what we do.
I don't try it. I don't try to do it very often because I usually fail.
We're punny.
But apparently I fail even when I'm not trying to make a pun.
So
That's unfortunate. Go ahead. Tell us about Murdered Soul Suspect.
So it was actually the first game I got to see today because for some reason Konami and a bunch of others have really big booths and they're not sharing anything to the public.
Could you remind me which one this is again?
Some Square Enix.
This is Square Enix. I don't remember who the developer is.
There's a lot of games with soul in the title.
Hold on,
Now
I'll
I'm
find
getting
the developer.
Murdered Soul
confused.
Suspect. You play as
Ghost
this
detective.
detective. His name is Ronan.
Your little girl.
No.
No, he's a guy.
Okay.
And he's
You've not
he's,
seen the
he's
trailer.
murdered, and he becomes a ghost.
He is a
and
detective
he has
who
to
is murdered.
hunt down his killer.
Like Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby.
Yeah, with less pudding.
Okay.
Actually,
I don't think I've seen this trailer.
Actually, I tweeted out this is the this
Funny
is
enough, we have an appointment to see this game on Thursday, but no, Chris couldn't wait.
actually I have a reason why I want to talk about it, but this I tweeted out actually. This is LA Noire meets Ghost without Whoopi Goldberg.
Okay.
Is this
You're
open
not
world?
feeling it.
It's no. It's
What is
it's-
Debbie Moore in it though, with her
Is
night
it
shirt and
19
making pottery all sexy?
I cannot confirm that. No,
Oh, I like
1930s?
that. I'm getting sold.
no. This
What
it's
part of this
modern
is-
day.
Okay.
Modern day
The game is developed by Airtight Games.
airtight games. Okay.
The Airtight Games is funny enough is the studio.
Wasn't
who
she
is-
dating Ashton Kutcher?
I don't know.
By the way,
So,
Airtight
studio
Games,
behind
Quantum Conundrum
Quantum
and
Conundrum.
Dark Void.
Oh, okay.
So the game opens. You're murdered. Your character is murdered right before your eyes, and turns into a ghost. And as he enters this ghost world called Dust, and this takes place in Salem,
Yes.
famous for the Salem witch trials and all that shit. And so it's a very spiritual city. And you're going through there, and your goal throughout the entire game is to find your killer. Man, try to bring him to justice in some way.
Is there
And you-
combat or is it all detective stuff?
There is a little bit of combat. It's more focused on detective stuff.
Good. I love detective stuff. Is it good detective stuff?
It's kind of interesting. So
Oh,
The way-
I just have the most tasteless joke.
good for you.
It
save
involves
that.
the movie Ghost and Patrick Swayze and him actually being dead. I'm not going to make the joke here, but
Does it involve pottery and possibly the shape of a phallus?
no.
That's too bad. That's a great scene.
Yeah. Anyway, so he isn't able to interact with most of the world.
Swayze dance.
But he can't pick up objects in the world. He can kind of, but he does have a few abilities. One, he can possess people, but not in the traditional sense. When you think of possessed, they enter the body and they take full control. They can walk around, talk, and all that. No, what he can do is he can see through their eyes and look at notes and clues that they've written down. So, for example, one part he went up to a police officer who was taking a statement from a witness, and went saw his eyes, looked down on his note page, and was seeing everything that he'd written down from this witness's testimony.
So can you do that anytime you want?
They're individual crime scenes, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
They haven't detailed what it is beyond that initial area. It's just that's kind of to demonstrate the mechanics of that.
It'd be interesting because what worries me is that that's an interesting mechanic. But if it's like a giant prompt will probably like, look in his eyes now, press A, look in his eyes now. But it'd be cooler if you had to actually pay attention to as the scene played out.
No, you actually have to. I was going to get to that.
Oh, okay, good.
That's one of the things you can do. Another thing is you can, when you possess somebody, you can actually see their memories of what happened.
Somebody in chat just goes, couldn't he just look over his shoulder?
He is a ghost. He can go anywhere he wants.
Bitch, he's a motherfucking ghost. He'll do what he fucking pleases. Now, but
That's a good point, though.
But a bunch of different things. But when it comes time to deduce what happened, you'll take those clues and you'll go to this screen in which it highlights various different words or aspects that contribute to the situation of what you just saw. So you'll get the witness's testimony, and there will be a few words associated with that. You'll get the notes, and you have to combine those together to figure out exactly what happened in a scene.
Mm-hmm.
So
I feel like this is a really hard game to picture without seeing it.
Yeah,
it kind of is,
because people I've heard people, and I talked to someone while I was waiting in line for Mad Max who said the game looked great, but I can't. What you're describing now doesn't sound great.
I'm kind of I keep on picturing L.A. Noire in my head.
It is a lot like L.A. Noire.
Yeah,
it really is.
But you're a ghost.
You're a ghost.
you're a ghost cop.
Go.
Is there a movie called Ghost Cop? Because I would
No,
totally
you're
watch that.
you're
shit.
the ghost
So-
detective,
the ghost detective.
you
which is
deduce
what you were in Ghost Trick.
You deduce what happens at a scene, and then if you're correct, it plays out exactly what happened.
What if you're not correct?
They didn't demonstrate that.
Okay.
I don't
They
know if
don't.
that's score related. I don't know if that'll affect gameplay and story. I think that'd be cool if it was.
Yeah.
But
I don't like fail states. I like failure in those type of situations to change storyline rather than fail state.
Like Heavy Rain.
So
Yeah.
once that
one
scene
thing I
was
love about
over, they went into a few more mechanics that work into the game. And this is where they introduced kind of the game's combat. So the first thing they did, since Salem is a spiritual town, this is how they keep the player in the specific areas. They make it so you can only enter buildings through windows and doors that are already opened. Because supposedly the city, since it's so spiritual, has been blessed and christened on each building, to prevent the dead from entering.
Mm-hmm. So you can't go through walls and stuff.
Once you're inside the building, though, you can. As it just
It's like the thing where like vampires can't.
you can't freely enter every building,
Okay.
but you can enter certain buildings once the door's open. You
There's-
walk through that door.
Not to go off track, but maybe you've heard of this. There's a game that sounds a bit similar to this in terms of just feel and kind of what you're doing. It's an indie game that's coming out called The Novelist. Have you heard
I have
about
never
this?
heard of this.
I'm
about
afraid
this.
not.
It's where you play. There's this family in this house, and you play this ghost in this house, and you have to observe and watch the family as they interact, and sort of decide to sort of help them out. But you can't let them see you,
That
so
sounds
you kind of have to stay behind their train of sight. But then you have to watch what they're doing and deduce what's kind of happening in the home.
that
Scary ghost.
that sounds
So
both.
you just exist in this space with them.
That sounds 1 part endearing and 4 parts very fucking creepy.
My
It's a little
God.
creepy, but
Well-
it reminds me a little bit kind of what's going
Yeah.
on here as well.
What if it's first person and you don't see yourself until like the end? You look in the mirror and you're like a ring ghost, and it's like the most horrifying thing ever. Oh my god!
You're actually Patrick Swayze.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Okay.
CG Patrick
So,
Swayze.
You're like,
once you enter a building, you have the ability to walk through walls. You have various things, but
Did you
that-
develop
that's-
the ability to kick a can?
you can do poltergeist abilities to affect the environment of what's going on. So, for example, if you need to distract somebody in a room, if you're helping somebody out, for example,
So this sounds like Geist.
or you need to convince people to open a door to get into a new building or something like that, you can say turn on a stove and have that start flaming up or something like that. It's various different little things.
Okay.
There are side quests in which you help out other ghosts in the world. So, for example, in the demo, he found this woman who had been recently murdered.
Okay.
and she asked you to help find her body. So you go to her parents' apartment, and you possess them and hear their thoughts, and from there you deduce what happened to her. The father murdered her, and they drove out to a quarry 5 miles out and laid her body there.
Okay.
So, and you deduce that information based on the information you get. You go and you help her, and she goes find her body. You know, you give her a little piece,
Yeah.
which is kind of
Okay.
your goal overall. And then that's when they introduce the combat, in a way.
What are you fighting?
Combat?
You're fighting demons. These are souls, ghosts that have been trapped in dust for so long that they prey on other souls and try to eat them.
They've warped almost. Kind
Yeah.
I've seen Paranormal Activity. I don't fuck with demons.
You don't fuck with these because they can be a little spooky. You cannot take one on head to head. You will die. There is no way
Again?
around that.
What do they look like? Do they actually look like the black shadow demons from Ghost that took the Mexican dude
Remember
into
that?
hell?
I don't
That was scary.
remember that specifically. I haven't seen that movie in God knows how many years. No, it's not part of my DVD collection. But
about Roadhouse?
it's kind of like the traditional idea of death, you know, with the hooded robe, but kind of reddish and more ghostly at the legs. And they actively patrol through the world for souls to eat. You cannot take them on head on, or you will die. No way around it. But you can use the ability to walk through walls and possessing people to hide from them. And if they get close enough, for example, he possessed a guy, and a demon came close enough, he was able to leap onto the demon and then kill it by. Well, you remember the Matrix where Neo leapt through Smith and he exploded?
Yes.
Same mechanic, same
Okay.
thing.
Oh, cool.
So you can
Sorry.
do that to take out demons and stuff.
Here's what I want to know about this game, because I will go see it on Thursday. First of all, is it have like good tone? It sounds like a game that needs to have a good atmosphere to kind of.
It has a heavy noir feeling to it.
I like that. Is it creepy?
The ghosts when they introduce the demons, yes.
Okay.
And I have a feeling there's a side narrative that's built through puzzles throughout the entire experience that I think ties back into the Salem witch trials.
Okay.
I think that could add something pretty compelling to the story.
Okay. Cool. Well, I'm interested in seeing it. I'm going to go see it on Thursday when we have our appointment. So.
And keep in mind when you see this is a current gen title, but it looks pretty decent.
Okay.
Wait,
This is a PS3 and Xbox.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's coming out next spring, they think. But it's PS3, 360, and PC.
Cool. All right. So moving on. Before we take a quick break, let's pick something we can cover pretty quickly.
I got it.
Okay.
How about the crap-tastic? Nope.
You're being quick.
How about I was going to say
I played a few quick Vita games, didn't
that's
you?
what I was going to bring up.
All right.
Since we were talking about
Before we
on the
talk
topic
about
of-
that game,
on the topic of boring. Oh, sorry. go
I
ahead.
did play some East Celceta.
What?
Before J52 told me to. I'll just say it kind of plays like East 7. I also played some. Fuck it. Let's talk about
Fuck it.
Batman Blackgate, because this is the game, the Metroidvania made by the guys who left
Armature Studios.
who left Retro Studios.
Now, we were-
the guys responsible for Metroid Prime.
Now we were really, really excited about this, weren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I was. Yes,
Now,
Armature.
before we get into detail about it, I feel like this is like the first moments of the game, and it's kind of tutorialized. But at the same time, if it
I don't-
continues on much longer after this in the same
The
fashion,
core mechanics
are kind of boring.
don't really support what we want that game to be. It seems like.
But also, we didn't get any like
But,
gadgets.
like, think
and
about
things.
that. But think about that level design. Think about that level structure.
We weren't even in Blackgate at that point.
What?
That whole sequence that we played in that demo was outside of
But
Blackgate.
I mean, just look at what it does about how it's trying to be a side scroller in a very 3D environment.
Yes. So this game
and-
was literally press forward on the analog stick to run forward, and then press R1 when you get to a ledge to grapple onto the next ledge, and then continue running.
Yeah.
Occasionally beat up some dudes in very Batman Arkham City style, and then run forward, hit R1 to grapple to the next building.
It was for me, very underwhelming, and I couldn't even finish it. I just walked away.
I didn't finish the demo either. It was
Really?
It was
pretty
super
lame.
boring, and they even tried to do like simulate the stalking combat from those Batman games, where you're hanging up on like fucking gargoyles and shit. And even that was really fucking.
I
lame.
died twice in that shit too because it was a lot harder to because of the
Against the
environment.
gun
I
guys?
kept there's a guy off screen that I could never see that kept seeing me attack the other guy,
you
and
should
then
never.
I was like,
This was a big letdown for me. I thought we were going to be getting like Shadow Complex with Batman.
That's what I was expecting.
It is not Shadow Complex with Batman.
not.
Because Batman would be
I mean-
a perfect character for that sort of thing.
From
Yes.
what we, based on the demo, yes, that's not at all what it appears to be.
Yeah.
But
If it becomes something else, that's fine. But the demo was kind of shit,
That's too bad.
and I can only imagine what it looks like on a 3DS.
yes, so we're gonna go ahead and take a quick break.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We'll talk about Dying Light. I really want to talk about that because
Yeah.
we saw that today. There's a few other games we played and saw. So
I have some too.
yep. So stick with us, guys. We'll be back for more impressions from day 2.
And welcome back to our E3 Day 2 podcast. We still have a lot of video games to talk about here.
Really?
Starting with Nick talking about Dying Light.
Now this one surprised me because I like Techland and I did enjoy Dead Island more than other people here did, but I do know that they have some issues in the technical department.
I can
But
tell
you're
you,
saying
I
it's
can tell you
amazing.
this, Joseph. If you liked Dead Island,
You're gonna love.
you will shit your pants over Dying Light.
They did do Gunslinger really well.
But what if you didn't
Gunslinger.
like Dead Island?
Then you have a much better chance of liking Dying Light. But
That is not the way you phrase that, sir. That is terrible. That just makes me think that it's going to be far worse
Hey,
than
Chris,
Dead Island.
No,
Chrissy
no.
D, what didn't you like about Dead Island?
I liked the first third of the game.
no,
And then it got-
no. Specifically, what about Dead Island did you not like?
The city.
What, specifically, what part of
the-
specifically do you not understand?
The entirety of those chapters after that, okay? The introduction of the city that doesn't make sense in any sense, way, or form of layout, of zombies constantly fucking respawning, of forcing the player to do nothing but run away because you're going to get fucked either way. You can't even remotely think about the possibility of clearing out an alley.
You may not like Dying Light.
But you're supposed to. You're not supposed to clear out.
No,
alleys
in
in
fact,
Dead
most
Island.
most
That's
of
not
the
point.
scenarios in this demo that we saw today, he was running away from zombies, not killing them.
Yeah.
That's not to say they didn't demonstrate combat, because they did quite a
But
bit.
that's okay because the core mechanics have gone from a clumsy first-person brawler to a game that plays a lot more like Mirror's Edge. So running away from zombies makes a lot of sense.
This is a game in which, think Dead Island. It takes place on an open world, what appears to be like South America, because the demo we saw today took place in like a favela-like area, big, huge open world, and you are a survivor of this scenario, I guess, and you have the ability to free run like Mirror's Edge. So you're jumping over, you're scampering up walls, jumping over fences, diving under, under fences and stuff like that, and you're sliding all over the place. And you can scale trees and telephone poles and use it to jump into balconies and access the interiors of buildings and things like that. It all looks really smooth, really fast paced. And then they throw in the combat kind of Dead Island, but it's a lot more polished. It's mainly emphasis on melee combat, like Dead Island. So there's a lot of machetes, axes, and of course you can upgrade them just like you could in Dead Island with like electricity and elements and stuff like that.
Well, I can only hope so because I mean, the fucking can that I was doing every single time I was fighting zombies drove me nuts.
This
after a
game,
while.
though, when they were demonstrating it, it was all over. First of all, there are a lot of zombies. There are different kinds of zombies. Some of them run really fast at you, and a lot of times it's just a better idea to run as opposed to try and take them out. Especially since melee combat is the focus here. He didn't actually. I don't think. Did he ever fire a gun in that entire demo? No, it's pretty much all melee combat. But throwing the free running element is really awesome, and you can even use. They couple the free running with like melee combat attacks. So like there was a zombie standing kind of like stupidly at the edge of like a roof or whatever, and he kind of silently snuck up behind him and did this like kick jump and kicked him in the back and just shoved him off the building. And he did one where he kicked a zombie into like a wall of spikes.
And this is all in game. Right?
All in game,
Okay.
all in engine. This is running on a high-end PC, and they said it's going to look just like this on next-gen consoles. There is a version coming out for the 360 and PS3, but they've already said it's going to be scaled and it's not, it's going to be comparable, but not one-to-one. It'll probably look like Dead Island.
Yeah.
Why is Techland doing another zombie game?
Because I think they loved the idea of what they were trying to do with Dead Island, but they weren't satisfied with the way it turned out.
I know. Remember, Dead Island was a hit for them.
It was.
So
And this game looks leagues better than Dead Island. Like,
Do you
it
think-
doesn't even. You would be amazed to look at them side by side and realize these are the same
do
developers.
you think there's been sort of a sea change at Techland recently? Because Gunslingers was really good and polished. This is really good and polished, apparently. Hell Raid we haven't really seen all that much of yet, but this is 2 in a row now.
It's reasonable to suggest that there has been some policy shifts, that there may have been some
Well, they have
loss
money. They
or
have,
gains of technicians and
and they have
programmers
money
and all
now,
that.
probably.
They probably
Dead
and the
Island,
money.
which really helps. And I'm not trying to bash them. I like them, but I always realize they had good ideas, but always lack some of the technical chops to really pull them off really, really well.
Well, also remember that Deep Silver published Dead Island and Warner Brothers is publishing Dying Light, so maybe they have a much bigger budget to work with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a feeling Warner Brothers is putting a lot more support behind Techland this time around. Now, some of the things that are new to this game that separate it from Dead Island, dynamic missions kind of crop up throughout the game. In the demonstration we saw today, he was running towards this. His goal was to go across the rooftops and get to this supply drop, this plane dropped in the distance. And as he's running, he runs by a building, and you hear this girl crying. There's a zombie like beating on a door. So he kills the zombie and tries to open the door. Can't. So he tells the person on his radio, "I'm going to try and investigate this building, see if it sounds like someone's in trouble." So he climbs a light post on the outside and uses it to jump onto the balcony and explore the interior of this building until he finds this little girl hiding in a closet. So he rescues her and tells someone to come find her, where they can find her, and stuff like that. And that kind of cropped up because he was just running by a building, and you happened to hear a girl crying like she was in trouble, and you could have just run right past it. But that kind of thing can crop up at any time.
Okay.
And you can just kind of wander off the beaten path, and that stuff looks awesome. If it's really as dynamic as they say it is, because who knows? But also the change that the game undergoes when it becomes nighttime is pretty fucking creepy. Like, all the zombies become like these super fast and vicious. I forget what they called them, but they basically transform into much more vicious versions of the zombies, and at that point it becomes more like a stealth game. So like he was wandering through alleys, and he has this like ping ability. You like push a button and it like pings this like radar that allows you to kind of get an idea of where they are in relation to you, so you can be sneaking around and you know when to stop and hide so you're not seen and stuff like that. But then of course in the demo he gets spotted and he takes off running, and this is my favorite feature of the game. As you're running, you can push a button to look behind you, but when
that's
you
neat.
do that, it goes into slow-mo.
Oh,
so
that's
you're
cool.
still maintaining control of your character.
Right.
But you don't have to make these quick looks. You can still look back and maintain control while
That's neat.
knowing what's behind you.
Yeah.
And of course, every time he looks back, this thing is just charging at him, and it's
Sure.
terrifying.
That's cool.
And I don't know. It looks super polished. It looks super open, and the free running looks awesome.
All right.
So
I'd say that it did look good, but while State of Decay and like Last of Us scratches an itch, that makes me think, maybe zombie games aren't all that bad. I saw this, and even though it looked good, I'm kind of tired of zombie games.
I
It's
think
probably why I'm not also going to go see Dead Rising 3.
there's definitely zombie fatigue, and I can see why you would have that feeling going into this game. But at the same time, there's zombie fatigue. There's also not very many games that capture all the elements of a zombie infestation
Yeah.
very well.
It's about the encounters.
There's
and
so many good zombie games.
There are, but those formulas are old, and we're wanting new things. And the two things I think people are wanting are either the more intimate encounters in which, like Zombie U, for example, you have to be extremely fucking cautious, or you will die quite easily.
The roguelike model.
The roguelike model.
Yeah.
Or you have the increased gigantic scale of this threat.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
There
the Dead
haven't-
Rising.
There haven't been very many.
Dead Rising,
I think
Zombie U,
State of-
Daisy, Left 4
State of
Dead,
Decay.
State of Decay, Last of Us. So many.
But there's always been so many. There's been so many for years now.
Yeah, I mean it's the one
I think
versus one.
I think it's also the first person nature of this game that kind of attracts me to it. It's first person. It feels like you're in the shoes of the survivor. The open world nature of it this game feels truly open world. Hopefully, it's as open as they make it look.
You're also a really big fan of Mirror's Edge and that kind of thing.
And Mirror's Edge thing just-
scratch that.
What's the tone? Are they looking at a Dead Island tone as far as humor and story, or
Not
This looks pretty
darkness?
This looks pretty serious, and it is bright and colorful during the day, but at night it gets pretty freaking creepy.
Okay.
And the zombies in this game look frightening. Like when they're up in your face, they look imposing and terrifying. There's some games where I see a zombie and I kind of laugh. I'm like that looks dumb. It doesn't look frightening at all. These zombies kind of freak me out.
Then I think you should take another look at Zombie U again.
Or Dead
Oh.
Island.
I have Dead Island.
Or Yaiba Z. That's a Ninja Gaiden game with zombies.
What?
Is that the new one? Is that the
Yeah.
new
You
one?
play as a
Yeah.
don't you play as a zombie ninja out to hunt down Ryu Hayabusa in that?
I just know in that demo I was killing lots of zombies.
Whatever. We need to know the stubs.
Okay.
Whatever that one.
Fuck it. Stubs. More stubs. Brad.
Yeah, I got some stuff here. Hey, I played some shit. By the way, I walked by the Fable remake in the Microsoft booth, and it looks like crap.
Really?
What?
It has a really, really crappy frame rate from what I saw.
Oh, no. That's too bad.
No.
But, maybe they can clean that up. I don't know. I played a little bit of Brothers at A Tale of Two Sons.
Yes, I want
Oh,
to hear
how
about
was
this.
That's one of the Xbox Live Arcade games. It looks really pretty, but I'm starting to wonder if that mechanic of controlling two different dudes with two different sticks isn't kind of lame and really gimmicky, and I don't know exactly what it... Nothing I did in the demo really made me... It's not a mechanic that instantly grabs you, that's for sure. And you pretty much always have to keep the dude who's tied to the left stick on the left and the dude who's tied to the right stick on the right, because your brain's just not going to work if at any point they switch. And you're just sort of jumping around, solving pretty simplistic puzzles. It seemed cool. It looked nice, but I don't know really how long that's gonna. The gimmick of controlling with different sticks seems kind of dumb.
You think it would have been better if you could just switch to each one automatically? Like, you can be one brother or the other, but not controlling them at the same time?
No. Like all the puzzles are designed around controlling two people at once. I mean, the game is designed around it. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think that's that exciting. I don't know. Cookies and Cream did it better.
I don't think I know
Cookies
that.
and
What is that?
Cream.
That was a PS2 game where you controlled two different characters with two different sticks.
Okay, yeah. I've never played that one.
But I don't know. It could be cool. I did see. I did play Killer is Dead. That's the.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh,
I'm going there tomorrow.
That's the new Suda game, and that game was better than. So Suda often gets knocked for like making games with lots of style, but the gameplay either being really janky or ultra simplistic. One of the reasons I don't like No More Heroes that much is because I love the style and I love the characters, I love the boss fights, but like it's got an ultra simplistic combat system that just doesn't really control all that well. There's a lot more going on in Killer is Dead. I mean, there's a lot more mechanics. You have a lot more control. There's a pretty solid dodge. It just feels a lot better than your typical Suda action game.
Right.
And of course, the style and the craziness is there in spades. Like it was insane. The person who was at the booth from XC was telling me how it's episodic, but it's not episodic. It's all in one game, but each episode is like you going to take down like another assassin.
That's what Killer 7 was like.
This has
That's also what.
some ties to Killer 7,
Yeah.
like at least tangentially, even though it doesn't play anything
That
like
also
Killer
likes
7.
No More Heroes too.
Yeah, no, there's
He likes that. He likes that setup, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is more directly, or I think this is more related to Killer 7 than No More Heroes. He also has like a gun arm, and you hold down like the trigger, and he has various gun arms, like various various gun arms. Like one's a giant drill arm, and you can drill enemies, and one's like you can shoot rockets and stuff. It's weird, but there's a lot going on, and it's fun and it's crazy. But and I'll probably definitely play it. But I'd say the strangest thing that happened to me was after I played through my level and I fought my boss.
This is a great story.
The girl that was there originally was like, "Oh, you should try out Gigolo mode," and I was like, "Okay."
It even sounds kind of.
But then she started helping the guy next to me, and another XC girl walked up, and so I finished my demo. I finished the boss, and I was like, "Well, I was going to try Gigolo mode because that's what she mentioned something about Gigolo mode. So let's try Gigolo mode." I was already feeling embarrassed because I just said I would like to try Gigolo mode, and she's like, "Okay, yeah, sure. I haven't actually seen that yet."
If you use that phrase in
No. Did she?
I'm just saying
She knew what it was. She hasn't seen it.
You use that phrase in real life in certain situations. It's gonna turn out bad for you.
Yeah.
This is great. This is amazing. Keep going.
The reason I wanted to see it is because I was asking the first girl questions about she was saying my character's maxed out, so I was asking like, "Oh, so do you like earn these abilities throughout the course of the game? Do you upgrade these weapons?" And she was like, "No, you actually earn the weapons through Gigolo mode." And that's when I was like, "What's Gigolo mode?" So that's why I wanted to check it out. Gigolo mode, it kind of is like what it sounds like. You're a dude in like a bar, and there's a lady sitting next to you, and I don't really understand how it works, but I think you're trying to woo her. The core mechanics are you're trying to look at her breasts and vagina without her looking at you while you're looking at those parts.
How does this get you weapons?
It's actually like Time Crisis. Like no, I'm serious. There's like a look away from her, like a button you press to look away.
No, this sounds like a fucking Flash game.
I know what he's talking
No.
about.
I'm confused. I don't really know how it works. There's
programmed
glasses. No, I shit you not. There's glasses that you put on, and when you look at her, you can see through her dress. This girl next to me, who's been briefed on the instructions to this game, was like, "No, you're supposed to be looking at her breasts." So I have to look at her breasts, and she's like, "You got to look at all her sexy parts." So then I stared, and it zooms into her vagina. I'm looking at her vagina, and like a meter's fucking filling up, and she's like, "No, look away. She's looking at you."
You should have been like, kind of like you're looking at
I
me.
feel so embarrassed. This is the most sexist thing I've ever played. There's this poor girl whose job is to, just instruct people at this booth, and I look at her really awkward, and she looks at me, and she says, "This is the game I have to work on."
What platforms are? Is
One
this game
reason
coming out
why.
I was
Hashtag one reason why.
PS3 and 360, I think
Nope.
in like August or something.
on? No PC.
It zooms in on her.
No,
vagina.
no,
Because
Wow.
I just want there to be a Time Crisis mod for this. Okay, when she looks away, you hear somebody yell "action."
So how do you get
You have to
weapons?
pedal with
by,
your foot.
Just cast in.
How do you
chat.
get weapons by looking at her? Body
I
bits?
think you get a weapon for each woman you woo or something like that.
Oh, so there's gonna be multiple.
That's so. So what you're saying though, to get new weapons, you have to do this. This is a mandatory part of the game.
I think so, yes.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good story.
You know,
though.
I really like Suda.
I've never felt this awkward.
I really like Suda, and I don't. I fear for what the backlash to this is going to do to his.
Can I,
There were similar
Do you
mechanics.
understand the climate right now?
No. Well, there were similar mechanics in the Yakuza games.
I mean, this shit doesn't fly anymore. No, the Yakuza games weren't this bad. You would bring the girls to the dating.
you would still
thing.
zoom in on their like.
But it wasn't a mechanic, I don't think. Like you'd sing for them at karaoke. This is going.
But I mean,
no, there was.
Is the
Hostess
tone like?
Club kinda.
Because I'm thinking like the character in Catherine was kind of a guy, like a dude, like he's kind of perverted. That, let's be honest, we're all kind of dirty.
We're supposed to trend like
And-
gaming.
so is it like
transcend
is
this.
it funny? Is it him like trying to like catch a glimpse, or is it really him trying to like be disgusting?
There's a way to do this too. I mean, there's a way to do this while being
I
self-deprecating.
think
to
the
character
X-ray
that
thing
make
goes
it
a little
alright.
too far.
Someone please.
remember.
There's a trailer for this. Someone post a link to it in chat, and we'll watch it quietly.
I remember seeing a Flash game years ago. I don't know if y'all told me. I don't know. My roommate told me. Whatever. It was based around this entire concept. You basically you can only move the mouse to move your character a little, and based on the movement of your mouse it relates to the speed at which your character tries to come on to this woman. And so you kind of got to pace her and watch how she's reacting to you and move your mouse back and forth.
And that's I mean, there's a way.
You
like I
come
said,
on too hard, you're going to get slapped in the face.
Well, that's for anybody, you know. But I think there's a way you can kind of do something like this while being self-deprecating. I think Shadows of the Dam did some of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
like this goes way too far.
We don't know the
just
context.
just to be awfully sexist.
They could be
it
demons
seems.
or something.
I feel like it's an odd choice.
Maybe
to
if they're
demo it.
demons, it's okay.
The
But
stuff in
then, I don't know.
Yakuza did get pretty terrible.
But
like you would take girls out on dates and playing ping pong with them. Your goal is specifically to like hit them in the breast area. So
I don't
trigger
know.
cutscenes where they go
Okay.
zoom in on their breasts.
I don't remember.
Oh my goodness.
It's so silly. It's so.
See, I think it all, first of all, I think it all depends on the tone. And second of all, I think it's kind of an
That's
odd choice to
fair.
demo this at a convention.
Listen, we have a resident gaming programmer guy on our staff named Bob Webb. I don't see how this isn't his next project. He needs to make Gigolo mode the game,
I also
or somebody yells
It should
action.
it should be a Connect title.
Y'all played some Saints Row 4. I played
Oh,
some
God.
Saints Row 4. Did y'all want to talk much about Saints Row 4?
I did not play Saints Row 4.
You have superpowers. It kind of feels like prototype.
Yeah.
This is like Galgun a little bit.
Wait, are you watching it right now? You stupid.
Well,
Hey,
he looked at her face and he got
She was
some-
instructing me to keep looking at her breasts. She wanted me to get caught. So because
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
she can send you away.
no, she wanted me to get caught because the woman like slaps you or whatever if you look at her breasts for too long.
Oh, okay.
Good lord. Okay.
I don't know.
Talk about Saints Row and stop
It
watching.
seems
the
it seems
Gigolo mode.
entirely unnecessary.
Well,
We need this AI tech built into Google Glass.
Now I'm just ridiculously curious as to what the context is and how they thought this was like.
A good idea. It doesn't seem to fit.
I mean, if
I
there's a
encourage
legitimate-
all of you to go try this game.
If there is a legitimate fit, I don't see what it could possibly be. Why this would be
Although-
appropriate.
So other than Gigolo mode, I'm actually really happy to hear the game looks good.
No, the game,
Looks great.
like the combat looks.
I
Awesome.
So I passed it. I haven't played it yet. I was running around just trying to get a feel for the layout, and I passed it. One thing I was really happy about is when you're looking at the trailers for Killer is Dead, the art style is very detailed and very very stylized, and it was almost a little hard to look at. And I was worried that in a high action situation where you're like fighting multiple dudes, like it would just become a blur of stuff and it'd be very hard to follow. But when I watched it, it actually wasn't at all. It actually works very very well. So.
I recommend making sure you don't do the mission where you have to kill a train because that requires lots of turrets. There's other missions you could play. Just do a different one.
But are there training sequences for that?
No, I get it.
You can figure out how to do that.
Did y'all want to say much about Saints Row
conduct
4?
yourself better in
Saints Row
combat?
What are you done with?
Did y'all want to say much about Saints Row 4?
All I'll say with Saints Row 4 is I finally got some hands-on time with it today.
As did I.
It's not like Saints Row 3. It was interesting to kind of feel how they mixed and matched both the superpowers that you get with the contemporary, the normal contemporary
Traditional
weapons,
weapons.
traditional what's the word I'm looking for?
If
Traditional
you can
weapons.
call them traditional.
Yeah, I mean, traditional weapon type of stuff.
For Saints Row.
Everything has a cooldown, so you just can't keep on doing stuff. I will say the traversal around the city is really great, really well done.
It's a lot better.
Honestly, though, it's like a really wacky Infamous or prototype.
It is.
Really, that's what it kind of feels like.
I don't see myself ever needing to drive in a car in that game ever again.
Yeah, once you have all the superpowers where you can run really fast and jump really fast and fly, like you don't need cars anymore. Basically,
Well, then all of a sudden it ceases to be a Grand Theft Auto clone, which is what it used
it
to be.
is not.
No
It's no
longer
longer.
is.
No,
now
it's
it becomes a
infamous prototype type.
I don't think
Yeah.
you start the game with all these powers.
You don't. You
No,
don't. You
no,
have to earn them.
you earn them over
You
time.
earn them, and then you could upgrade them through skill trees. and lower
skill
the
points.
cooldowns.
In the way he was describing it, it sounded like how you have to find them in the environment, like fucking agility orbs.
Yes, they're like blue
Yeah.
orbs, and then you get them from killing enemies. They'll drop,
Yeah.
and they're just sort of in the environment.
Oh, so those orbs, I was jumping around grabbing those orbs. Those give you your power-ups?
Yeah, those
Yeah.
give you your skill points that you then
Nice.
use.
See, that's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. Because I was enjoying grabbing those.
Now they just get the agility orb, sound effect that goes with that,
Oh,
and
nice.
then that it's over.
I will say that... you know what? No, I'm not. Let's just move on to something else.
No, make your point.
I don't have one. I forgot it.
One thing this might remind you. One thing we were saying in the car is, as fun as these powers are and how cool they are, the Saints Row 3 thing is getting a little bit tired now.
It is.
And I'm thinking, like, if not this game, maybe make one more, like, next-gen one, and then they should probably put it to bed.
Okay, I remember what I was going to say.
Okay, I knew something would pop.
Okay, thank you. I was going to say a lot of these powers and stuff don't feel like they were... This game feels kind of bootleg, like you're playing a modded version of Saints Row 3. Like, these are the kinds of powers I felt like I had when I modded Just Cause 2.
Well, the cooldowns,
kind of bootleg.
They put in the cooldowns later because they felt like this game is way too easy now with these powers. We need to do something.
Saints Row 2 and 3 were too easy also.
But I mean, no, it makes it like ridiculously easy without cooldowns for these powers because you literally are unstoppable for the most part. You know?
Yeah.
So, but I understand your feeling on that. But my main takeaway is I'm still enjoying the Saints Row series, but it's getting a little bit tired.
I don't know why. I mean, I love the dubstep gun. I love the humor. I love the superpowers. But for whatever reason, I'm just not that excited about this.
I can understand that. I really can understand that. I will say that the humor is there. The humor is really great. I mean, you play the president of the United States, and I mean that ends pretty fast. The actual presidential part of it.
Oh,
but
yeah,
I have to
that's
go.
great.
I have to go to this congressional. I think of this speech, and I'm going down this long hallway, and people keep on like interrupting me. And one guy goes, "Hey, we have 2 bills we need to pass today. There's not a lot of time, so you can only pass one. You want to cure cancer or cure hunger?" And you have to choose if you want to cure cancer. And like one bill's called "fuck cancer," and the other bill is, what was it called?
Fuck world hunger.
Fuck world hunger. And you have to choose which one you want to solve.
One bill is called "fuck cancer." The other one was called "fuck hunger."
Fuck hunger,
There we go. So I forgot the other one.
So I chose cancer, and he's like, cancer had a good run. Might as well end it now.
Yeah.
Cancer had a good run is a fantastic line.
That's pretty good.
And there's some other things as well that were kind of entertaining. So that humor is still there. One thing I want to make sure is, and this happened in Saints Row 3, it started off really strong and really wacky, but then got dull pretty quickly when you started becoming just overwhelmed with all of these like side missions and side stuff you had to keep on doing. How many insurance fraud challenges do I have to do? How many like sewage pump bilge spraying things with shit do I have to do? There's tons of them, and there's just too many of them. The game became bogged down in them, and that crazy single player mission thing kind of went away. It wasn't there as much. And what I want to see for Saints Row the 4th is I want it to start crazy and like continue on like level on 11 through the entire thing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for that.
Well, okay. I played a little Outlast, but
You didn't like it.
it was not that I didn't like it. It's just that I wasn't too interested in the demo.
I wasn't too taken with the Outlast demo either.
It was running through like rooms and in hallways. And
The common denominator here, though, is y'all both played in the wrong environment.
I will give you
you
that.
keep saying that, but like that doesn't make the fucking gameplay any better. I mean, what were you doing in the game?
No horror game should ever be demoed at E3, honestly. Not
I'm
with
saying
what's going
I've played
on.
plenty of games that scare the shit out of me. The Grudge scares the shit out of me, but it's still the worst game I've ever played. I'm not saying Outlast is bad. I'm saying that demo really... After I got lost, like in like these rooms and stuff, I kind of lost interest pretty quickly.
But that's kind of the...
Even when there's something...
That's the part that's supposed to be scary, is the disorientation,
I
the not
hate
knowing
being lost in
Well, that's the problem right there.
dark horror games.
I feel like
and
if you really want to scare the player, just put them in a dark, like labyrinth, get them lost, knowing that someone's after them.
See,
that's terrifying.
that would frustrate me actually.
It depends on how they handle it.
That's how I mean.
Depends on the
because
booth.
maybe it was just because it was really fucking hot in that booth, but I wasn't having it. I did get my hands on the PlayStation 4 controller though, and I like the improvements that they made. The sticks are a lot more
Tighter.
They're a lot tighter. There's a lot more resistance, like 360 control sticks, and the trigger buttons are now proper triggers. They're not the concave bullshit anymore. They're convex on the top, like a trigger should be. And I just like the size and the weight. Everything felt right.
I haven't had a chance to play with the PS4 controller.
I'm proud to say, the very first game I've ever played on a PS4 is Octodad, and I'll remember that for as long as I live.
So what did you think of Octodad?
We've talked about it.
It's the same game.
I wish it would release for PS3
You know,
so we can see 6-axis support.
I will say though, it does transfer well to a controller. It's still floppy and hard to control, and that craziness is still there. So that's good.
I played Dragon's Crown on the Vita, although I'm probably gonna go play
We
it on
gotta
the
go
PS3.
back and play. Let's go to the Atlas booth, play some co-op, because that shit is no good on the Vita. Everything's too goddamn small.
It is pretty small on the Vita. It looks gorgeous. It's just it's,
You should see what it looks like on a PS3.
I know. I can imagine. It looks great.
It looks real good.
I will be playing that game. Anything else? Anything else?
I have one more game I'd like to talk about. You guys probably wouldn't be too interested in, but maybe some people in chat will. Some of our viewers, if you will. I played through the Lightning Returns demo.
Oh, I'm interested in this.
Which one is this?
Final Fantasy 13.
Oh,
Lightning
wait,
Returns?
which one is that?
Final Fantasy 13-3, Lightning Returns.
Shut up, Joseph.
Why isn't that Final Fantasy 16?
This is a weird game.
Well,
You-
also don't forget 10-2, so that would make it 17.
Son of a bitch.
This is a really, really strange game. You know, it's not your traditional Final Fantasy game. You're only controlling lightning, and when you enter a battle, you know you're running around the environment. You can actually run and jump, and they even try to put a little bit of platforming in there now. Boring platforming. When you get into battles, you actually get into the battles. The battles after you run into the monster on the field.
Yeah.
Takes you to these battles. You can actually move lightning with the left analog stick around the environment, not quickly, but kind of like a slow like strafe.
Yeah.
Like move closer to the enemy. Like you have some free movement of her in battle. It's real time, and the way the mechanics work is she has different kind of like job classes. But instead of like the paradigm shifts where you switch paradigms, it's just mapped to like L1 and R1, and you can like tab through her classes. And as you tab through them, she's changing her outfits like on the fly.
So it has some Final Fantasy X-2 elements in there?
Yeah, but it's not. It doesn't play like that at all. It's all real time when you're changing her outfits.
Okay.
This game is essentially like a real time game with cooldowns, because when you switch to a class, all 4 face buttons are different attacks. Square is usually always like a defense, like a guard. And then the other ones are just different attacks, like a faster attack and a heavier attack and maybe like a spell. And all that takes from a stamina bar. You know, like the heavy attack may take more out of it. And you could switch to different classes, and that bar will start recharging for one of the other classes. And, there's like a caster class that had all spells. And, I think there's like 3 or 4 classes that you're tabbing between. But because when you're in one class, the bar is recharging for another, I found myself, the appropriate scenario would be to switch to a class, just sort of like mash on the buttons, and then switch to the next one, mash on the buttons till that bar is depleted, then go back to the original class, mash on the buttons until that bar is depleted. Now, I know there's going to be there's probably some more strategy in it, but I got through the demo and I fought a boss with no problem at all. I mean, my score wasn't that good, but I don't know. I couldn't really get a handle on where the strategy is going to come in the game. Now, outside of like exploiting weaknesses, which has never been all that interesting in terms of strategy to me. That's why I don't like the Persona games all that much.
Yeah. What about the world structure though? What can you say about that?
Just like 13-2. I mean, it's
a little more open.
open ended than I'm guessing a little more open ended than 13, but running and jumping around. But I don't know. It's weird. It's really weird.
I'm gonna go play this.
It kind of reminded me of like the combat. Actually, kind of reminded me of the Valkyrie Profile series.
Oh wow.
Yeah, where they had mapped different attacks to the different face buttons.
Yeah.
Timing those together and stuff is the strategy. But there was like some bad loading after each battle, and that's never a good thing. I don't know. It seemed a little rough.
Yeah.
But her outfits look nice.
I love the combat system in 10-2 and the changing outfits thing. I don't know. I'll give it a shot.
Doesn't play like that. And you're only lightning. It's
it
weird.
Still intrigues me though. So I don't know. The thing is, I 13 and 13-2 are games that I want to play and finish, just because I like Final Fantasy a lot, and I don't know, the character seems interesting enough. I just can't get myself motivated to go actually spend the time to do so. All right, so is there anything else we want to mention?
I saw an extended playthrough of Thief, but we have a appointment for that, so I'll save it.
Yes.
I did play some single player Splinter Cell, but I found out at the 11th hour that multiplayer is on the floor. It's just kind of hidden within the Ubisoft booth.
Okay.
So I want to save my impressions of that for tomorrow.
Okay.
I also saw-
I
go
I
ahead.
did there is I only played 3 games today, and that last one I got a few minutes with the standalone version of DayZ.
Okay.
I gotta say, it feels completely revamped. It feels so much better.
It looked a lot better.
Where is that?
It's in the South Hall, the big one. It's right next to Konami. But they first of all they removed the HUD, the status HUD you're used to in the mod entirely. They've improved the zombie AI so it actually paths better, and it's actually a lot more frightening because zombies don't just run after you much better. They'll do a flying leap trying to grab you. It's nuts when you see them. The inventory system is so much better. You can enter so many buildings now. It's like almost every building you can go into now.
Nice.
And the item placement, it's insane. You have to look everywhere. It's not going to be in little predisposed piles in the corners of rooms. No, you have to look inside cupboards, on top of things, below things. They're hidden everywhere.
That's awesome.
It is really cool.
I said
This
it.
game is
I said it
coming
earlier today,
along.
and it seems like open world games with loot and scavenging mechanics is like the bow of 2014.
I mean, this
know.
game is now scary again. Playing alone without any other players in the server, this game is now scary.
I'll have to try.
Has there been talk of bringing DayZ to consoles in any?
There was
I
mention.
would not be surprised
of
if
it.
this came to next gen via
It better be
download.
next gen though.
Yeah.
It's really surprising. It's almost as they sort of figured out that people like more open-ended game with like deeper mechanics and systems. It's crazy.
Like so, maybe they just sort of discovered it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, and I got to meet Dean Hall, and I congratulate him on conquering Mount Everest. So
Cool.
that is a fucking monumental task.
Yeah, that's big.
It's a big mountain.
Fairly big.
It's good big.
Joseph.
Just a couple of things. I saw the behind the closed doors Dead Rising thing.
Yes, you did.
I wrote something about it up on the site. It's there now, 4playernetwork.com. But a couple of things. It is a much more serious Dead. Did I say Dead Island? I meant Dead Rising. Dead Rising 3.
Yes.
Okay. It's a much more serious Dead Rising.
You sure you didn't mean Dead Nation?
It's
It's easy to
dead,
get
dead
these zombie
something,
games.
yeah, Dead Rising. It's more of a serious one. It's that the gritty tone. There is where it is kind of. There's 2 areas where they showed a little bit of the original Dead Rising silliness. It's in the weapons,
Dead State.
Dead State. It's in the weapons, which are still kind of crazy. You don't need a workbench anymore because your character is a mechanic, so he can just once he gets blueprints and he gets the materials, he can make weapons anywhere.
That is a lore justification for not having to find workbenches, and I am a-okay with that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. So you can still wear any clothes you want, like crazy outfits and whatnot. The difference is the only thing they showed available in the behind the closed doors was him finding and putting on complete outfits, but not finding like
Individual clothes.
individual pieces of clothing.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's in there.
So I don't know. And they weren't really taking any questions, so I couldn't really find out. But I hope they still have individual pieces of clothes, but so far all I'm seeing is here's his SWAT outfit, here's his hazmat outfit, here's his shark costume outfit. But what
Is
if
there a shark costume?
There was a shark costume.
Was there a Mega Man outfit?
I didn't see one.
There better be.
But I mean, there is possibly a chance that individual pieces of clothing are gone. We'll see. But the big main actor on this game is, and it's pretty evident because they didn't really go into the story too much. I think it's just kind of probably in the background. The big player in this game is it's a technical game. This game seems to have been made to show off the technicality of the Xbox One, and
AKA Dead Rising 1.
maybe.
Well, no.
That's what Dead Rising 1 was.
It was exclusive to the Xbox. That is entirely true. But I believe that was more a testament to the empty framework engine, which was going to be that multi-platform engine that was going to go into every fucking thing.
But at this behind the closed doors, it was all, and everything we're doing here is only possible because of the architecture of the Xbox One.
Did they say that multiple
Yes,
times?
that-
No.
multiple times they said things like that, and that's why I think basically what Dead Rising 3 really is a giant tech demo for the Xbox One. Because it's all about giant city areas with hundreds of zombies all over, and it is impressive. It is totally impressive. There was definitely a little more frame slowdown compared to what we saw at the main show, and it did crash once. And they had to switch boxes.
Oh, wow.
But it is still it's in a working state, so
Yeah.
I forgive him for that. But it's okay if you're liking running around and killing zombies and stuff.
I don't think it's going to be the zombie game to steal the show this year.
I don't think so. So anyway, let me check my notes real quick if there's anything else.
We could have a whole booth award for best zombie game.
We could. There's so I don't recall if this was actually part of Dead Rising 2, but now there's safe zones, and there are weapon lockers and clothes lockers in every safe zone, and the lockers are universal. So
Okay, so they share from...
they share from one to the other.
There
sort
were-
of like State of Decay works with their lockers.
There
and
weren't
their
exactly safe zones, but there were areas in which zombies would very rarely spawn.
Yeah, they wouldn't really get in
So-
there. So that was one thing. There is a skill tree type of stuff. You get this thing called prestige points, and you use those to raise levels and get new skills. And you can do kill chains where you get more prestige points. There's smart glass features, but I don't give a shit about smart glass features
99-cent
because we keep on seeing everywhere about these smart
This will
glass
be the
features.
1 year in which tablets somehow they thought tablets would somehow play a major role in gaming, and next year we won't see them anywhere.
What do you think, Nick?
What?
Would you call airstrikes with your tablet there?
Probably not.
I wouldn't. I just want to go into a menu. I don't want to be playing with my phone. I just want to go to a menu and hit airstrike and just do that.
But there is that element. There is that very slim, small element of those people. It's a single player game, but you've got a friend over. He wants to participate in some way. That's a way for him to participate.
But I mean, it's not like a Wii U where he's
Here,
actually
you take
in
my
the game.
tablet. You just call it an airstrikes every once in a while. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's not like the Wii U where he's like an integral part of the game.
or like what they plan to do with Watch Dogs, for example.
Right. No, this is totally just
See,
like
Watch Dogs is a game where I feel like I would give it a pass because that game at its core, like conceptually, is all about hacking devices.
Right.
So using a device in the real world to interact with your game
Right.
seems cool.
Well, it seems. You know what it is? It actually seems outside the box in a very Kojima sort of way.
Yeah.
Like how in Metal Gear Solid, like this guy reads your mind, so you have to move the controller from port 1 to port 2.
It's
That
like-
kind of outside the
it's an
box game
extension
thinking.
it's an extension of the experience.
But so in Watch Dogs, it works in that sort of sense. But in nowhere else has it worked. Well, I'm playing Dead Rising. Oh, I want to call an airstrike. Let me get the app going on my phone so I can get this in
Did they
here now.
say who was even launching those airstrikes? You have
No, they didn't.
military on your side?
They mentioned nothing about story or what was going on. I don't know why a mechanic from Detroit could call in airstrikes, but I'm sure they'll bring in some sort of justification.
Don't worry, they'll address that.
We'll address that.
They'll make it make
in a
perfect
side
sense.
quest.
Oh man.
I want to know what their bonus costume is going to be because they've always had this bonus costume that can very much change the way you play your game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Dead Rising 1 they had the Mega Man outfit, which you could get the blaster from Mega Man and you could just destroy everything just in one hit,
As you should be.
and it was wonderful. But and then in Dead Rising 2 they had the Arthur outfit from Ghouls and Ghosts. Or
They'll have
Ghouls and
something.
Goblins, whatever.
Could you throw spears?
No, you had the armor that like tripled your health.
But you couldn't
But as the more you got hurt, the more you lost that armor. So eventually you were down to skivvies with hearts on them.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
Cool.
I like when Dead Rising didn't take itself so seriously.
I think this game will be a lot less serious than you think. This is
I
Then
don't
they're
know.
choosing
I
to-
went silly because
Then they're
we have-
choosing to demo it wrong.
We have plenty of serious.
Yeah, no, they even said, hold on, I have a quote. They said,
more serious.
a more mature, more sophisticated Dead Rising 3.
See,
Oh,
what
damn
are they
it.
That's a
doing?
quote from it. That's what they started out with. Today we're introducing a more mature, more sophisticated Dead Rising 3. I actually wrote it down.
No. I want to slam giant teddy bears onto the heads of zombies.
Not happening.
Yes, right.
That's what Dead Rising.
There
does
should be
well.
an airstrike where it drops nothing but teddy bears onto the heads of
Chris,
zombies.
welcome.
Exactly.
Chris, welcome to a more mature, more sophisticated Dead Rising 3.
I'm glad we're seeing eye to eye on this, Chris.
It hurts. I can appreciate them wanting to go with a little bit of a darker story because shit's going down, and I want conclusions to these characters' and stories. But
No, Chris.
It needs humor.
Chris, welcome to a more mature, more sophisticated Dead Rising 3, only possible through the architecture of the Xbox One.
We have sophisticated weapons like sledgehammer chainsaws,
You're hurting me inside.
not crazy laser.
That's pretty much verbatim what they said.
Can you put a moose head on? Oh, good heavens, no!
No, it's more sophisticated and more mature, and only possible through the architecture of the Xbox One.
Oh God, and in the new age that is Capcom, how much of this is going to be?
Oh,
You know what's
man.
really upsetting? You know what's really upsetting? You know what I really expected and really wanted to see here? I wanted to see Dragon's Dogma 2 and didn't happen yet.
or deep down.
I think Deep Down is Dragon's Dogma 2. I thought that was going to be revealed as Dragon's Dogma 2.
But I still think Dragon or Deep Down isn't even a game at this point. It's a tech demo.
No, you're right. You're probably right. You're probably right. I was hoping.
All right. With that, I guess we'll go ahead and conclude
Yeah.
the night. Tomorrow, well, a lot because today was actually the shortest day of the week as far as hours spent on the show floor. The show floor didn't open until noon,
Yeah.
so we were only given about 6 hours to play. Tomorrow we have 8, and the next day we have 7 or something like that. So
Yeah.
we'll play a lot more tomorrow and the next day. We have 2 more days of podcasting to go. Thanks everybody for listening. 4Player Network is the site, 4playernetwork.com. Check it out throughout the day. We have our home team of writers who are doing a fantastic job of posting all the news and stuff throughout the day. So if there's anything, if you want to watch any big trailers or videos and stuff coming out throughout E3, please keep your eye on the
pay
site.
attention to our YouTube channel. I'm rendering today's videos right now, and they're going to be going out tomorrow, and we've got some good stuff for you.
So our latest video log from yesterday is live on YouTube now, and we'll have another one sometime tomorrow from today. So you can kind of just see all the shenanigans that we go through it throughout the day with Brad's handy cam, the Brad cam as we've dubbed it now, and of course we have an interview and a few impressions videos filmed directly from the show floor going up on YouTube tomorrow morning throughout the day. So that's it. It's tired. It's getting late. We're gonna go ahead and hit the sack because tomorrow's gonna be a long day. Thank you, everybody who tuned in to watch over at 4pp.tv.
See.
We hope a lot of you are a lot of you are new, so thanks you for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon. We'll be back again tomorrow with more casting, and I'm going to leave it there. Good night, guys.
Good night.